How do you lead, initiate, and make shit happen?
Let's talk business strategy, Mara style.
Welcome to Align and Grind, the podcast where business strategy meets astrology.
And where we put the woo in the work.
I'm Karen, a holistic business coach, helping soul led entrepreneurs build sustainable success without burnout or the BS.
And I'm Heather, a spiritual life guide, intuitive astrologer, and energy alchemist, here to help you align with your soul path.
Each week, we'll blend grounded strategy with cosmic insight, giving you the tools to grow your business your way.
By syncing up with your energy, your astrology, and your unique gifts. No more forcing what isn't aligned.
This is Align and Grind.
Let's do it the soul-led way. So we've been talking about Aries and first house energy and our branding and how that's our entrance into the world and our business, and how our rising sign is really that face of our business. And last week we went through all of the different signs and kind of talked about strategy that we could use for our branding, or like our brand voice, I guess.
Mhm.
And now we're going to talk about Mars energy. So Mars is the ruling planet of Aries, and that's our drive, what motivates us, and like how we want to initiate.
Which is really what branding is, right? It's how you launch your business. Like you create that brand, that identity,
Mhm.
and that's that initial piece to building your business. Because without it, there is no business,
Mhm.
right? That's your front face. Yeah.
Would you say that that's your why also? Kind of like what motivates you and drives you to like take the action and to do this
Yeah.
is, that something like deep inside of our soul that says, I want to get up out of bed in the morning and do this thing. So,
Yeah. Yeah. It's like that, it's something that I ask my clients is like, what is it that makes you kick the sheets off in the morning?
right.
Right? Something's got to spark that energy to say, I want to get up and I want to go.
Mhm.
And what is that? Like, what's going to launch me out of bed every morning
Mhm.
and then help me make the impact that I'm looking to make within my business and within my community, and not just my immediate family, right? It's kind of a bit bigger than that. So,
So I'm curious, before we go through it all and kind of go sign by sign, what do you feel like is your purpose, or not even your purpose, like your motivation?
uh, really, it's the impact, right? Like seeing women truly, like not to get out of survival mode and really get into that thriving
Mhm.
and pushing it beyond that. So this year, we, always choose a word of the year. And last year was flourish. It was taking people into that mode of not just thriving, but you're actually flourishing. Where this year, I wanted to take it even bigger, which is soar, right? Like I want people, and especially women business owners, to really kind of step in and soar, not just so that they're flourishing from the ground, but they're actually moving beyond that and outside of their comfort zone to create and make a bigger impact than they even realize they're able to make.
So do you
So
get excited when you think of your community and seeing people within your community really grow and thrive and soar when you
yeah,
think of the whole?
yeah. Yeah. I think there's like, I don't need to be that front face,
Mhm.
like I don't have to be the person out in front
Yeah.
to, to see them succeed. I'm okay being quiet in the background, but I do like, I get really emotional when I see my clients like really take off and do more than they expected and achieve more. And more doesn't have to mean that, they expand 1,000%. More can just be, I did something that I wasn't going to do before.
Them
Right.
overcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think of you when, we first started working together, you're like, oh, I don't really, I don't want to do anything like the YouTube. I don't want to get on and do the lives, even though I need to. And it took a long time. And so when you started doing them, I was like, yes, she's doing it. Right. Like to me, that was success.
Mhm.
Right. Like if you did nothing else, just knowing you broke through that level of discomfort. And now look, here we are just doing this podcast and not even really thinking about it. Right. Yeah.
Very cool. So
So yeah.
do you remember where your Mars sign is?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Likely in
I'll remind you. I'll remind you in a minute. Let's, let's talk a little bit about the current astrology right now too, because Aries season, when the sun is in Aries, this is the time that, we start to think like, what do I want? What do I want to initiate? We kind of start, getting that activation,
Yep.
it really kind of pushes us into something new. But right now we have, and I think we mentioned this last time, but we have Mercury retrograde and we have Venus retrograde. We also have a lot of Pisces energy right now, which is closing out a cycle. So
Mm,
business owners are feeling that they're thinking about what they want to do next, or kind of, getting things together, but they haven't made that step forward, or they feel a little stalled if things in life even have just been stalling them or holding them back. That's why, and that's okay. So this is the time to really get the wheels turning, have, your dreams laid out, your plans laid
hmm.
out, and then initiate as the energy starts to shift. And I think everyone kind of feels that intuitively. So I don't want anyone to feel like they're behind if they're not feeling like go 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 energy right now. um,
Yep. So
and
would
we
you say that, sorry to interrupt, would you say that would be kind of like that overwhelm? Like it's like all of a sudden they're looking, going, okay, like I've had to plant all these seeds, like all these ideas I've started creating, and now I don't know which one I need to actually nurture.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, I'm afraid to do one because what if the other one was a better idea? And so now I'm just going to sit back and kind of maybe not do anything or just watch a little longer.
Yeah, like that functional freeze. I get that
Yeah.
a lot. It's that feeling for sure. Yeah, which way should I go? And maybe, how we brought up, current global political energy,
Yeah.
that you're like, I'm not really sure what's best right now, because I'm not sure of what's going to unfold in this larger scheme,
Right.
you know?
Yes.
So that could be it. And I think that it's been kind of an emotional drain, which also kind of keeps us from moving forward with that amount of certainty.
Right.
So it's right on time, because we're just, we're still closing out something, but we are really stepping into this whole new world and this whole
Yeah.
different atmosphere and activation.
Yep.
And currently, right now, Mars is in Cancer. It's not really comfortable there, and it's not
Okay.
really as pushing forward like it would want to.
Yep.
Mars in Cancer is more worried about its home and security and family, and maybe people are feeling that right now too. Like I'm concerned with making sure everything's in alignment and I have what I need, and I might be stocked up in case of higher prices.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Well, it's funny because my daughter was actually just saying that to me. She's like, do you know we need to have like 3 days worth of food? And and I'm like, yeah, okay, right. So you're thinking about the preparation
Mhm.
and kind of planning ahead, but without kind of going into crises mode.
Right.
It's like, how do we systematically go about it without it making us feel overwhelmed that, oh, it's the end is nigh kind of thing, right? Like it's like, let's be realists, but let's also kind of take precautions and figure out what's a smart move.
Absolutely. And that's part
Yeah.
of, I think, having our foundation set. So we feel secure and we feel okay with moving forward because everything else is in line. And even if
Yeah.
it's as simple as I've been in this mode of just clearing out and purging,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
simplifying my life.
yeah.
Because when that happens, then everything just runs smoother in my home. And if, people have a home-based business, that makes a world of difference as we
Yeah.
start to change around furniture and clean out drawers and make sure our desk is, cleared off. So, I mean, that's
Yeah.
part of that energy of like, I've got to have everything kind of together before I can go and launch this big thing or really market.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Because that's interesting because my desk right now is like a chaotic set right now, right? But I'm like also thinking it's tax season, right? Like a couple more weeks. And so you're thinking, okay, great. So I've got to close this out and that's going to be put away. And then this is going to be closed out. And so, but again, it's that systematic approach without the piles of things making it seem overwhelming. But everything has its place and there's a reason they're on my desk. Like there's a reason I haven't filed them away because I actually still need them, kind of thing.
Yeah,
So
and that to me, that's that's my energetic drain too. I know that I have a lot more, my vibrations higher, I can think clear when I have that in order, which it's not. So I need to close that up and clean that out and take care of my life, and my
yeah,
finances before I move forward with things or before I'm energetically open,
right.
so
Yeah,
really putting myself more in a position where I can focus 100% on what I want to
yeah.
create. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting because, in business, we talk about the ebb and flow of business, right? That seasons.
Mhm.
And you're coming out of winter, and depending upon the industry, winter is a time, especially when you think of tourism or travel, that it can be very a quiet season because people aren't doing a lot of traveling, like outside of, spring break or Christmas, but everybody's normally kind of hunkered in. And now they're just kind of coming out of their shell. Now they're like, oh, now I can get outside because the weather is nice. Now I can, it's like everybody comes out of hibernation. And when we lived in Oregon, like when we moved to the neighborhood, everybody's like going, oh, you'll see, nobody will be on the street from like November 1st until March 1st. And then everybody would come out and we were like, okay, whatever. Right. And then sure enough, that's exactly what happened. Like you wouldn't see anybody around. And then March 1st hit, and then you would see everybody outside. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And isn't that a great thing too? Because you're listening to what the seasons are telling us. This is
Yeah.
how people used to live, where we take that downtime during the winter and we rest and we reset and we recalibrate. And now, that spring, that freshness, that this is new life, and we can
Yeah.
really move in again and get back to planting those seeds.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So
So
awesome.
the other thing is we do have a lot of momentum building. So Mars will move into Leo
Mm,
April 18th. And
okay.
now I can put things out in public. Now I can complete my life purpose. It'll be a good revitalizing energy for us to initiate. And then the 7th, Mercury goes direct, and it'll be in its shadow for a little
Okay.
bit, but it will start to move forward. So now our thinking, our decision making, our communication kind of clears up. And then Venus moves direct on April 12th. So then we should understand more of what we want and what is valuable to us and beautiful to us and what we
Mm,
want to, how we want to express ourselves and be creative. So that's all building behind the scenes right now. So, mid-April, look for that, momentum and
okay.
inspiration.
It's yeah, so that's interesting because even just thinking about, different clients and what's going on with them, they're
Mhm.
obviously none of them are connected with each other, but you can see the patterns.
Oh,
Like
okay.
as you're talking, right? Like you can see the patterns and what is the timing, and the timing we've talked about with them and what they're working on and what's happening and where they're gonna, what they need to do by a certain time. And you're like, so that's why I wrote down the dates. I'm like 7th, 12th, 18th. I'm like, yeah, like this is like I can see it all happening. And
Mhm.
it's kind of like, yeah, like by the 19th, like every single one of them is gonna be there instead of
Oh,
here.
so their timing is right on time.
Yeah, like that's why I was like, oh, that's really interesting.
Mhm.
Okay.
Like we feel
Yeah.
this internal clock too.
Right.
I don't want to get too woo, but I'll get a little woo when I think of us being made of, we're stardust, and
Yeah.
what is above is below, and we're just part of this cosmic cycle, and it's working its way through us, and it awakens us at different times. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I mean that's that whole energetic piece of it, right? When you're thinking from a holistic perspective is like when we actually tune in and listen to our body, that
Mhm.
energy, it's going to direct us.
For sure.
And I have yet to be misguided when I truly tune in and listen. And I may be shocked by what I'm supposed to do or where it's leading me because I'll be like, oh, that wasn't what I was expecting. Okay. But you follow it and it's always guided me in the right direction. It's the ability to kind of tune in and discern ego over
Yeah.
the energy of it. Yeah.
I just think of intuition as if I feel fear or anxiety, that's not my intuition. But if it's just like a soft, nudging or soft
Yeah.
voice, then that's my intuition. And I think that the more that we listen to it and follow it, the more that we're guided in the right direction. The
Yeah.
universe kind of meets us as we take those steps forward, which is
Yeah.
another big thing when it comes to using our Mars energy. And when we start to take action, we stay in action and
Hmm.
energy continues to flow, but we have to direct it in the right ways.
Right.
Because it's
Yeah.
so easy to burn out if we're, scattering our energy or taking action on things that don't really drive us.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
Definitely.
And that's where that alignment piece comes in, right? Like when you are making decisions that are in alignment with who you are as an individual, then the decisions become sustainable and long term. Like they're not like a short term, and I think that's where when we follow our ego, which is normally, all about the money, right? That and not that positive impact we can make with our business, that we end up saying, oh, it didn't last. It
Yeah.
was short lived. Why?
It isn't that it's sad
Hmm.
to me sometimes because I see mostly younger people, and I'm not categorizing this, but just in my own life, people just trying to make moves or create businesses that are going to be like fast money makers or
Yeah.
not really adding value and not something that they're passionate about just because they think this is how it's done. And I see a lot of creators uh,
Hmm.
like in sponsoring that, I suppose. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
fake now, but it's to me it's like you have to have the right like purpose behind it or you know
Yep.
yes, we all need money, we all need to pay our bills, and we want that feeling, but I don't feel fulfilled unless I'm doing something that really to me is meaningful.
Right. Yeah. There's value in there. Right.
Mhm.
And I think it's those quick fixes. And yes, there's those times where people, start a business and it skyrockets and
Mhm.
it just takes off, but they're few and far between. It's not the norm.
Right.
And so for small business owners, it's about how do you systematically put together the path
Mhm.
so you can follow it and stay in alignment and know that as you're making decisions, it'll come out in the long run for the better as long as you stay on the path and be in alignment, which is really be true to who you are. And we talked about it last week, that authentic self, right? As long as you stay authentic, then the universe ends up rewarding you, you
Yeah.
know, basically for lack of a better way. But it's yeah.
Yeah, and things just happen. Synchronicities happen, the right people come into your life, the right clients show up. Yeah, it
Yeah.
just all flows and
Yeah.
comes. So do you
Yeah.
want me to go through just like different notes on the different Mars signs?
Yeah. Yeah. So I kind of pulled up some information and just kind of gathered some just
Yeah.
on two different signs because there's so much on so many. So I'll just kind of chime in as we go through with
Oh, perfect.
what I've found, like as far as like with Mars and Aries and Taurus is the two signs that I kind of
Oh,
picked.
okay, fun.
Yeah. So then we can just kind of
Great. And just to explain this, because I want to keep it super accessible for everyone, and really
yeah.
this is scratching the surface, but so we're talking about Aries. Aries is over the first house. We talked about those themes. Mars is the ruling planet of Aries, so now we're bringing in that Mars energy because they all correlate. Now, Mars in the sky is different than where Mars is in your birth chart, which is where it was in the sky at your time of birth. So you can pull up your free birth chart calculator. I'll link that in this video, and you can see exactly which sign Mars is in your chart, and that will show you how your action and motivation is expressed through that sign.
Okay.
Okay,
Awesome.
so yeah, so Aries likes to initiate. Aries likes to move fast.
Hmm.
Aries wants to be first. Aries, one of the downfalls is sometimes doesn't follow through. So that's the,
Yeah.
issue that that an Aries Mars has to overcome. And
Yeah.
yeah, but the good thing is they'll get an idea, they'll get inspiration, and they hit the ground running. And they'll just
Yes,
focus
like they're the
on,
quick starters. They're like they thrive when they're in action and but they have a short attention span, which is where that they don't complete it, where they start it, but they don't complete it. Yeah. And yeah, so yeah, there's a few people I can think of that fit that
Mhm.
that persona, right? And so yeah, so it's definitely those, from when I'm working with people like that, it's like the shorter programs, anything long term, and they kind of go, oh, okay, yeah, I'm done.
Right,
They want to drop off because it's too long. It's got to be really short and concise.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
So,
funny because then all the signs are so different when they're side by side, because that Taurus energy is really going to think through and plan things, and kind of more of a slow starter, but they're committed to seeing it through.
right. Well, it's really interesting because some of the different business models, right? Like it seems like for Taurus, it's much more of a subscription based model, like it's
Mhm.
long term. Like so, the investment isn't that short term, fast. It's I'm here for the long haul,
Oh yeah. So
right? Like
yeah,
this
so
is
it would play into your energy style and the type of things that you offer.
right.
So would
Yeah,
you say like someone with their Mars in Aries might be good at a 5-day challenge or
right. Yes. Yep. So 5-day master classes, like VIP programs,
Mhm.
and they want to get in, they want to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to learn, do what they need want to do, and then maybe come back and learn again. But they're not really wanting to stay for the long haul.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then
So
the Taurus would be, what did you say with theirs? Like
like more of like a reoccurring, like so they're looking for that long-term relationship,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So they're not, yeah,
Build those things, play with, does this feel right to me? Does this match? I mean, mine matches me, and I'll tell you about yours in a second. And
yeah,
then playing with your offers to match that style. And I think also it's helpful with understanding and being self-aware, and
yeah,
really understanding how we operate is helpful, because then we can overcome those challenges. So,
right. And so it's interesting because you say that, and you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but like any of the programs that I've kind of tried to launch and follow through for, it's like, okay, like those short-term pieces are like I like them,
mhm.
but I feel like I don't make the biggest impact,
Okay, yeah.
right? And so it's like, okay, so no, you really kind of it takes time.
Mhm.
You need to be able to like really integrate it, and change doesn't happen overnight. And so I keep kind of going back, going, yeah, like I've tried those short-term master classes and I'm always like, yeah, I just feel like I'm leaving them hanging. Like I don't feel like I can get it all in like a 2-hour class or a 2-day class.
Do you
Yeah.
find, Karen, also that for you, that doing the mainstream, or doing, the model that's kind of been set up by other businesses or business coaches doesn't really feel right for you?
Yeah. Yeah. Like so most business coaches will have a curriculum
Mhm.
where you start and you work through it and it's systematic and you have a meeting and you check in and this is what I did. And then, okay, here's your homework, go do it. And, and I'm much more of a flowing person. It's like, where are you at this week?
Mhm.
What needs to be worked on? Okay, so let's adjust based on where you're at. So I'm always tweaking it. Like it's never hard and fast. So each client doesn't expect the same or receive the same type of treatment, so to speak, or the program, right? It's always personalized.
Well, I see
Yeah.
that with me being your client too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So your Mars is in Aquarius. And so that's energy and tell me if this resonates is
Yeah.
I want to be unique and I want to be innovative and I want to do things my way. I want to,
Yes.
and it's going to be a little different, but I have
Hmm.
to benefit the whole or
Yes.
benefit humanity or the group. You
Right.
So it's that
Yes.
individualized idea and plan, but then I need to make sure that this is going to benefit the whole.
Yes. Yeah. So it's not cookie cutter, but it's still personalized,
Yes.
right?
It's
If that makes so, yeah, with the community, it's like everybody has access to the same information, but they customize it to themselves.
Mhm.
So it's not like everybody's going to have the same thing, but they have access to all the same things, but they're going to take what they need and not necessarily the same thing as what their neighbor might have,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah. Because,
getting the
yeah,
whole
because we're all unique, right? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So,
resonates.
uh,
Mine, I have Leo or Mars in Leo, and that's one that wants to be really generous and lead with a big heart. And I feel that. I feel that I'm like that. Uh,
yeah.
but also wants recognition for their work, which was, and I think that we've talked about this before because going from working for someone for so long and feeling validated by recognition to working for myself where I need to validate myself was a
Yeah.
difficult transition. So
Right.
getting feedback and testimonials is so important to me because I want people to be like, good good job, or this was helpful, or even my emails when I send those out, I'm like, no one responded. Like who responds to newsletters? But sometimes I'll get that from like a friend, like, oh, great,
Yeah.
it feels good. So that's kind of my roadblock is
Right.
not feeling like I need to be recognized for everything that I do.
Yeah. So then I would have to ask you in your newsletter, are you actually asking them to reply?
No.
so,
I
so
need
they're
to
not going to
make up my
reply.
mind. Damn it.
You got to ask for it.
Yeah. Leo Mars has a fragile ego.
Yeah. Yeah. So for somebody like yourself, right, it's like a great solution is like having a booklet of testimonials, like in one place, where when you're feeling you need that recognition, where you have to remind yourself that from the external, right? It's not
Mhm.
internal, that you can go to that book and just read them
That's a good
and
idea.
just kind of keep like reminding yourself, oh yeah, that's the impact I made.
Yeah. Good.
That's the impact I made on that person. Oh, that's what they felt, right? And I
Mhm.
was talking to a client last night, and that's what he was saying. He's like, like all the testimonials, he knows he makes an impact in
Mhm.
his business. Like he knows he's doing a really good job,
Mhm.
right? So he's like, yeah, and I'm like, that's awesome. Like that's part of that recognition. We all need it.
Mhm.
Some thrive on it, some don't, but
Mhm.
we all end up needing it at some point.
Right.
We need the feedback.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't you wonder where your client's Mars is?
Yeah.
Can I get it,
Yeah.
please?
Yeah. Yeah. I know. So I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Did you write down
Mhm.
any others?
Let's see. Um, I did. Let me pull it up. Hang on. Uh, let's see. Um, all right. So let's see. So I have a little snippet kind of almost on all of them.
Oh,
So
fun.
let's see here. Yeah.
I'll just do a little
So
snippet and you can do a little snippet.
yeah. So, Mars is like lively for Gemini, kind of that dynamic. They want to be stimulated. They like that collective nature, the brainstorming sessions. They can collaborate in multiple projects,
Mhm.
right? Because they're curious and they're adaptable.
So Gemini, Mars, yes.
Yeah.
They're motivated by the curiosity and the newness, and they can juggle a bunch of projects. I don't think a Mars and Gemini would be happy with just one thing. It's like they
Yeah.
have to be
Like
multiple.
different projects, right? So they can jump from one to the other. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then for Cancer, it's more of that nurturing, supportive environment that they want to work in. Um, they are a culture, they want a culture of like team, right? Like it's this, it doesn't have to be just necessarily collaborative, but they want other people around, and they're easy to switch between personal and work. Like they are very clear about their boundaries.
Mhm.
So they're not having to like worry about, is this going to bleed over to the other, which a lot of small business owners struggle with that.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that's, I think, a dead giveaway if they are with Mars and Cancer, if they have really clear boundaries,
Yeah, that's a great, yeah.
right? Like
Yeah, I
that's
never
almost a
thought
dead
of that.
giveaway.
What I'm thinking with Cancer too is I think that they feel good when they're able to develop others, either their employees or their clients, and feel like they're helping them grow. It's almost that mothering energy.
Yeah, yeah. Like a caring, right? Like that mother caring. Yeah, yeah. So, all right. So Leo, creative, energetic.
Mhm.
Um, they like the opportunities to shine,
Mhm.
right? So leading presentations, which thinking about what you did in corporate, right? Like giving presentations, showcasing your achievements, being able to celebrate all those milestones,
Right.
right? Because that's part of that thriving for recognition.
Mhm.
Yeah. Virgo, very detail oriented, kind of like they're calm, but they're efficient in their energy
Yeah.
with
And
their
they
business.
can be that multitasker, but I
Hmm.
think that a lot with the Virgo is being motivated by being strategic too.
Yes, very clear workflows, right? Like it's very obvious the steps are going to take. So they're the ones you put in charge of creating your standard operating procedures because
We all
they're
know a
detail
Virgo
oriented.
knows
Yeah,
in our world.
exactly, right? So it's interesting because just thinking of different conversations over the last couple of days with different clients, and that's exactly it. Like one is like they have everything structured, they have it all in place. This is exactly what it is. And another one's like, I have nothing. Like I don't even know what I'm doing, you know? And so just seeing the difference, you're like, oh yeah, okay. Okay, I got
Yeah.
it. So Libra, um, they really look for the collaboration as well, but they're about fairness.
Mhm.
So it's not just one, it's like what's good for one is good for everybody.
Big,
And yeah,
big,
right. So there's the balance. Everybody is in balance, everybody gets the same thing, right? And um they're they're good at conflict resolution.
mhm.
So that's like for Libra, that's kind of, and yeah, so I'm just thinking my sister's a Libra, which has really nothing to do with this, but I just see some of these elements in my,
Yeah, because when we have strong placements there, it makes sense. The one thing with someone with Mars in Libra is they can be really indecisive because they need to ask everyone's opinion. So I have a oh, do we oh, we're back.
we're back. Okay, so I lost internet and I'm connected to my hotspot. How about you?
And I think we're on the same internet. I lost mine. I don't think I'm on hotspot, but it's working right now, so that's good. But this is so
uh,
Mercury retrograde.
which is why we're unscripted and we just go with the flow.
That's right. That's
Let's
right.
just go with the flow.
What
So I
we do.
think we were talking about Mars and Libra and just kind of about their the collaboration that they like and the conflict resolution piece is I think where we left off, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. And then
Okay.
the negative side of that is being indecisive or needing to ask everyone's opinion before they make a decision. And
Yeah.
I'll list all of these on the post too, so that
Okay.
and I'll
Perfect.
have everyone's challenge along with like the motivator.
Okay. Awesome. Perfect. So then Scorpio,
Mm-hmm.
intense
Mm-hmm.
but private. And I think that's me. Like I can see that part of my Scorpio play out
Mm-hmm.
where I'm like, I'm super intense and I'm focused, but I don't share it
Yeah. And I think that
until,
when they have Mars there, it's that intense investigator or motivated by like the mystery or like the need to like figure it all out and go
yeah,
really in depth with it. But you're
yeah,
right, because it's probably also keeping things private, not letting people know what they're working on until it's complete, perhaps.
yeah, 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 right? Because, and it's, yeah, that strategic, the brainstorming, but it's transformational.
Mm-hmm. So maybe
Yeah,
with one of their offers, would it make sense to do one of those, like I'm working on something, giving little sneak peeks into it,
yeah, yeah,
but not the
yeah. They're just kind of like small reveals, but they're not giving
yeah,
the, they're not giving away the farm yet, so to
big
speak.
story. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So Sagittarius, adventurous, they're future focused, so they're looking outwards. Their schedules are flexible,
Mm-hmm.
and they're diverse in their culture and their perspective.
And
So
motivated
travel.
by that big goal, that big picture
Mhm.
view, you know?
Okay, so Sagittarius, yes, right. So they love the freedom, they love the exploration. So that's their environment that fosters that is where they really like. I think of, not that I know any of their science or anything about them, but when you think of like that innovation, you think of people like Mark Zuckerberg.
Mhm.
Like how whether you love him or hate him, it doesn't matter, right? But he's been so innovative
Mhm.
with what he's done, right? So you kind of think of people like that you're going, oh, you wonder where.
I bet he has a lot of Aquarius in his chart too.
Mm, yeah. So, and then Capricorn. So structured, very goal oriented. They like defined roles and hierarchy. Capricorn, goal oriented, structured, clear, defined roles, hierarchy. Um, they like an environment where it's tangible rewards, not just like ethereal. It's like, oh, great job. They want something that they can hold and touch.
I think that's probably the best placement for your Mars because it's motivation for success and for achievement and for all of the things that we attribute to being a successful business owner.
Right. Yeah. Perfect. So then we have Aquarius,
Mhm.
innovative, collaborative, group brainstorming, tech driven, which I know you said Mars is in Aquarius for me.
Mhm.
And it's interesting because when I first launched the online community, it was back in 2007. So it
Mhm.
was before Facebook, it was before like any social media
Oh,
platforms, but
yeah.
that's what it was, right? It was like this online learning environment with group, with, text-based coaching and like, so it was all of these things that we are now used to, but it was before any of it started.
So Aquarius.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
So
makes
I'm
sense.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah. So, and I like the idea of being able to just try new things without having to always be in a structured environment.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
So,
uniqueness.
yeah.
Unique.
Um, so then Pisces, I think this is the last one, Pisces. So
Probably
flexible,
the most
creative.
difficult.
You
Okay.
think Pisces?
Yeah.
Yeah. So quiet reflection, right? They want to have the
Mhm.
option to work alone or in small teams. So, thinking about this, Pisces is really kind of that, those are the people that thrived under the hybrid solution
Mhm.
coming out of COVID or going into COVID,
Mhm.
right? That they're the ones that are like, oh, yeah, I can work at home. Oh, but today I can go into the office. Oh, now I can work at home.
Right. Right.
Right? Yeah.
My
So,
daughter,
yeah, inspiring from that, right? That's where they get their inspiration.
yeah, I think, and I think that their motivation comes from their dreams and their imagination, and my daughter has her Mars in Pisces, and I see
Okay.
it in her. It's like they can have this vision, and it's all created, in their mind and their imagination behind the scenes. The one issue with the Mars in Pisces is actually then taking action on that dream and making it a reality. But when they set their mind to it, I think of all the signs, that's the one that can really turn those big dreams into being manifest. So,
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. I can see that with Lily. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Awesome. So that's kind of Mars and all the different signs,
Mhm.
an idea of what works best for each one regarding their work environment. Um, and I know we had talked about, um, you know, looking at like, well, I think we talked about motivation and kind of the environment as well, right?
Yeah,
So,
motivation. It's also how you get angry.
yeah,
So I'll list that as well because it's just nice to be aware of,
yeah.
you know,
What's the triggering
what
element?
triggering and how we can overcome that.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah, because I think that that becomes a stumbling block for people, right? It's they know they're triggered, and this is not the language they use, right? They don't use, oh, I was triggered today,
Mhm.
right? It's not part of everyday language, but
Right.
they're going to feel like, I don't know why I'm angry
Correct.
or I'm pissed off. I don't know why I'm pissed off today, but I'm just pissed off.
And it's so, I think it's so empowering to know that. I kind of speak like that, but I think I'm a little bit of an anomaly there because who does
Yeah.
that? But I always recognize it. And just to pick on myself, I know that that anger, the triggering comes from not feeling like what I contributed was acknowledged or appreciated or even seen. Like, so if someone else
Yeah.
took credit for it, those are
Yes.
things that would kind of and I would internalize it. My Mars in my birth chart is retrograde, which is another aspect to it. So some things are outward, some things are inward. I would just get really quiet and hold it inside.
Hmm.
But it's so true for me.
Yeah.
And Aquarius, you probably reflect on this, get upset or angry or triggered when your approach isn't the one that's being like implemented or it's not
Yeah.
being done your way. Or
Yeah.
in I think Aquarius can get a little vindictive too when they're triggered and mad.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because it is. I'm like, okay, why aren't we doing it this way? We need to do it this way, right? And even talking to my husband, I'm like, going, we need to do this, and he'd be like, yeah, no. I'm like, no, this is the way we need to do it,
Mhm.
and I won't have a reason, right? I'll
Mhm.
just know it's the way to do it, and it drives him bonkers
Mhm.
that he's an engineer, like that's his degree.
Oh.
That's so he well, engineers, right? Very black and white. This is the way you get.
Mhm.
And so I'm all about I don't read directions. Like I just do things. And he's like, you didn't read the directions. I'm like, I don't need to. I just figure it out.
Right.
You know?
Do it in your unique way.
Yeah. And so, or I'll say, this is how we have to do it. And he'll be like, no, no, no. And then he'll come back and say, I hate it when you're right. And I'm like, it's not that I was right. I just knew somehow. I just knew. Not that I'm a know-it-all. That's my intuition talking, right? Like I just listen to it and lean into it so much. I'm like, it doesn't steer me wrong.
Which
So
also makes sense with all of your Scorpio and your 12, you have 12th house placements. So yeah,
yeah.
makes sense.
So
But
yeah.
it's so interesting to know what our own astrology is little by little to raise that self-awareness, but then people around us. And when it comes to Mars and how we initiate and take action, what we're motivated by, knowing other people, if you have people in your organization, what's their
Right.
leadership style, what drives them, or, what to be aware of if you don't want to make them angry or
Right. Yeah. Well, any insight is good insight,
right.
right? It just makes you, even from a business perspective, it just makes you that much more successful because you can kind of see the writing on the wall
Mhm.
and you can read it and know how to manage it instead of it managing you. And I think that's, when we talk about stress and human interactions, that's a really big part of it. Small business owners, we normally don't have that training. We're just
Mhm.
kind of going off the cuff and, you know, on a hope and a prayer, right? So worldly events,
Mhm.
not it's still happening. Lots of up in the air. I think as small business owners, we need to start to look at what our multiple streams are. We need to look at our small businesses as, yes, it's going to be a solution where we're going to be coming into that, more of that small business community element. But really, and I hate to use the word, the R word, but um, how do you recession proof your business?
Mhm.
And, to talk real talk, there's a lot of talk right now about that happening. So looking at your business and how to recession proof it, I think is going to be important. So as we're talking about how we work best today and what motivates us, this is going to be important in order to be able to say, this is what I normally do. This is how I'm doing things now. How can I add to it? How can I expand so all my eggs aren't in one basket? And
I
we
think that
can,
would be a great thing for us to explore next week too, because I think this will be a very pivotal week with the
yeah,
astrological energies that I see coming in. The 4th will definitely be a big day, the 7th.
yeah,
So I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about next week and
yeah,
how we do need to pivot.
yeah.
And
That
that's
I think that flexibility, right? We talked about flexibility in different signs, but I think for those that aren't normally flexible, I think we need to start looking at how we can become a little more flexible.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was I did a free course on the astrology of 2025, and that was one of my keywords is just we have to stay adaptable this year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the more adaptable we are, the easier things will go. And
Yeah. Yep. Yes. Like we also need structure, but we have to take that structure and make sure we're readjusting it and
Mhm.
adapting it based on what's happening almost day to day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's an
So,
interesting year for sure.
absolutely. I know. I'm excited but nervous.
Yeah, same, same. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Should I pull
Yeah.
another card today before we go?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, I think instead of tarot, I'll do an oracle card. We'll get a message.
Ooh, okay.
Let me put on my glasses. All right, we have card number 37. That which
Ooh.
is true will always be enough. So truth, honor, and integrity.
Mm.
So having that
Oh,
integrity in your business, standing in your truth, knowing that what you offer is of value. And I think we talked a little bit about that, or I might have said it in my short that things are becoming so highly visible right now as we're keep triggering this 0 degree Aries point, which is the world axis, and more truths will come to light and we'll see it
yeah.
outside of us, but even within us in our actions, our intentions, our motivations behind what we do, and then will be very visible and
Yeah.
very highly public. So acting from that place of truth and integrity and honor is so important. So I
Yeah.
forgot to talk about that. So thank you.
Oh, yeah. So that's well, and that's that authentic self, right? So when we step next week into that I am, it's
Mhm.
really about making sure you're authentic.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Well, thank you for watching Align and Grind, the podcast where business strategy meets astrology.
We'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you for watching Align and Grind, the podcast where business strategy meets astrology.
And where we put the woo in the work.
Please hit the subscribe and be notified of upcoming episodes.
And join us next week where we continue our conversation and embody the I am energy of Aries.
This has been Align and Grind, where we do the soul led way.